Okay, and here's your video on 30, 60, 90 triangles. I would recommend a number 4. I would probably wait and do the 45, 45, 90 row, number 6 through 10 first if you haven't done that. So stop this video, go to 45, 45, 90s, then come back to this. Okay, I'm skipping number 1. I would also make sure you looked at your formulas. Okay, if you haven't watched the quick formula video, it's like 3 minutes, watch that. Okay, so I'm skipping number 1 because number 1 you're given the short leg, easiest problem. All you got to do is follow the two formulas. Hypotenuse is 2 times the short leg, so you should have gotten y is 22. And the long leg is the short leg times radical 3, so x should have been 11 radical 3. Okay? So that's your check for number 1. I'm going to walk you through number 2 and 3. Real quick, if you tried them already and you want to check answers or you want to pause the video, then check. Number 2, you should have gotten x is 8 and y is 16. And number 3, you should have gotten x is 18 radical 3 and y is 9 radical 3. Okay, 3 is, of course, the harder one, so that's why I'm going to walk you through 2 so you can see the process, and then we can apply it to number 3. Okay, if you got those both right, you're probably okay. Otherwise, follow along. So what we're going to do is we have 2 formulas this time. We're always going to start by finding the short leg. So look at what you have, and I like to label. I do have right now, I've got long leg and short leg. Again, short leg across from my smaller angle, and in this case I have a 30-degree angle. That's how I know this. Same thing going on down here, short leg, long leg, and then of course the hypotenuse across from the right angle. You guys are used to finding that. Okay, because my number is right here, the long leg, I'm going to start with the long leg formula. Long leg is short leg times radical 3. Whoops, I'm going to try to make that legible so you can read it. And then my other formula is hypotenuse equals 2 times the short leg. Not a bad idea. If you're not sure which one to start with, just write them both down. And what happens is if I try to plug in the second one, I'm going to have both variables. But if I try to plug in this first one, remember that our long leg is what we identified right here. 8 radical 3 is the long leg. So I'm going to go ahead and put 8 radical 3 for the long leg. Short leg is x. And this is going to look an awful lot like what we did when we were doing our 45, 45, 90 triangles. And we had to solve for our variable. And we said algebra tells us to divide to undo multiplication. So here we go, dividing. Divide by the radical 3, so they cancel on both sides. Last time was radical 2. And I'm left with a good old, x is equal to 8. And I said, hey, this one works out nice. We like it. Because we have that radical 3, you get rid of the radical 3, but mathematically we're dividing. This sets us up very nice to deal with our second formula. Of course, I'm trying to find a y. My hypotenuse is my other variable, y, equal to 2 times my short leg. Now, here's the problem. If I would have tried this formula first, my short leg, I didn't know. That was down here, my x, but I now know that my x is 8, and I'm going to go ahead and plug that in right here. So 2 times 8, giving me a final answer of y is 16 when I go ahead and multiply those out. Okay, so like I said, that's your easy case. Let's walk through the same process, but this time, notice that we have a number right here for the long leg, 27. Good old integer number. Normally we like those, but this time we want to have a radical 3 there, and we don't. So the long leg is the short leg times radical 3, and I'm going to plug in there. My long leg is 27. My short leg this time is y, so this is a variable y. Y times radical 3. Not always going to solve for x first. And algebra tells me, go ahead and divide by the radical 3. And I get to, whoops, that was my iPad falling. We're going to continue with the video. I get to 27 divided by radical 3, and I am done solving for y. But we know that that's not simplest form for a fraction. So I'm going to go down here and do a little bit of scratch work to get my simplified fraction answer. 27 over radical 3 And algebra tells me I need to, let's do blue, multiply by radical 3 over radical 3 gives me 27 radical 3 in the top over radical 3 times radical 3. Remember, another way of saying that is radical 3 quantity squared. A square and a square root cancel each other out, giving me the inside of the radical, which is just 3. Okay, that's just a quick review. And last but not least, let's go ahead and do the fraction work. 27 divided by 3, those cancel out, giving me 9 over 1. Final answer then, 9 radical 3. That was my y, because that's my short leg. Okay, so, whoops. That looks like a 2, not an equals. Oh, come on. My eraser doesn't want to work. Okay, so I am done with the first part. Now I'm going to go on to the second equation. The second equation always goes much quicker because I'm just plugging in. There's not the solving part. So hypotenuse equals 2 times the short leg. Now I'm looking for the hypotenuse is my x equal to 2 times short leg. I didn't know, but now I do know that the short leg is my 9 radical 3. Plugging that in right here. Oops. So I now have 2 times, oh, come on. Two times a 9 radical 3. Okay, so I'm just going to simplify that up. And remember, radical rules tell me multiply anything inside, multiply anything outside. So in this case, instead of multiplying the insides of radicals, I'm going to be multiplying this 2 and the 9. And that's going to give me 18 out front times radical 3. I don't have anything else inside a radical to multiply by the radical 3. So my final answer here then ends up being 18 radical 3 for my x. And I'm done. Okay, so those are a couple examples to help you out with the 30, 60, 90 triangles. I'm going to do one more quick video, and you can go ahead and try them on your own if you're feeling confident.